If you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Great morning to you. It's Monday, December 21st, 2020, and I would like to welcome you back to the King and I Life podcast, hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother, Son Soul X. Today, we bring you another segment of African-American historical figures and places. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Vivian Juanita Malone Jones. Vivian Juanita Malone was one of the first two black students to enroll at the University of Alabama and was the first black graduate of the institution. Malone was born on July 15, 1942 in Monroe County, Alabama. Both of her parents worked at Brooklyn Air Force Base in Mobile and were involved in the civil rights movement. Malone was also involved in community activities in her youth, focusing on the ending racial discrimination and working towards desegregation. She attended Central High School in Mobile, where she was a member of the National Honor Society and graduated in 1960. Malone attended Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, Alabama A&M, and received a 2-year degree in business education in 1962. In order to further her education, Malone would have to transfer to another university that offered more advanced classes. By 1962, at least 200 black students had applied to the University of Alabama's branch school in Mobile, but they were all denied admission based on over-enrollment or closed enrollment. The true reason, however, lay with the state's school segregation laws. After 1 year of legal deliberations, Malone and fellow student James Hood were chosen to be the first two black students to desegregate the university. When U.S. District Court Judge Harlan Grooms ordered Malone and Hood admitted, the two arrived on campus on June 11, 1963 in a 3-car motorcade accompanied by the U.S. Department Attorney General Nicholas Katzenbach and federal marshals. They were dispatched by the John Kennedy administration to avoid the rioting that accompanied the admissions of James Meredith to the University of Mississippi the year before. Alabama Governor George Wallace, however, stood in the doorway, physically blocking the interests of Hood and Malone. Deputy Attorney General Katzenbach called President Kennedy to force Governor Wallace to back down. The president federalized the Alabama National Guard, placing it under his command and not the governor's. 100 guardsmen escorted Malone and Hood through another door to complete their registration. As she and Hood entered the building, they were met with surprising applause from white students who supported integration. Malone was accepted as a junior and was the first student to graduate in 1965, black student, with a bachelor's degree in business management. Malone later moved to Washington, D.C., and joined the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice as a research analyst. She attended George Washington University, where she earned her master's degree in public administration in 1968 and married fellow student MacArthur Jones. She then took a job as an employee relations specialist at the United States Veterans Administration in Washington, D.C. Jones was later appointed to executive director of the Voter Education Project and soon became the director of Civil Rights and Urban Affairs, as well as director of environmental justice for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, where she remained until her retirement in 1996. Ironically, Jones was chosen by the George Wallace Family Foundation to be the first recipient of their Lorraine B. Wallace Award of Courage in 1996. The University of Alabama gave Jones an honorary doctorate of humane letters in 2000. Jones died of a stroke on October 13, 2005 at Atlanta Hospital at the age of 63. Jones is survived by her son, daughter, and grandchildren. Thanks for listening to another segment of African American historical figures and places on the King and I Life podcast.